Hi, everyone, and welcome back to this edition of Brave Briefings, where brave men and women can share their stories or their tips on how we can live in a safe and peaceful world, a world devoid of harassment and sexual and gender based violence and toxic behaviors. So, are you brave? Hi, I am Lois, your friend for forgiveness from walking without skin. And today I have another brave person on our show, and I'd like to welcome Judith Quinn. Hi, Judith.
Hey Lois, thanks for having me.
Thanks very much for joining us. Please share a little bit about yourself with our viewers.
So, what I find interesting about this is brave is a word that was always used to describe me. Like, oh, you're so brave. And I never got it. I was just like, no, I'm not. I just do stuff. I do what I want to do. Like, what's brave about that? Um, yeah, I am from the UK and I have always followed my own life path. And if that makes me brave, then so be it. But I have a background, 20 years as a classically trained professional actor. I then have always also been a natural healer. So eventually, to support my acting career, I trained as a massage therapist and then really went into my healing self. So, Reiki, and then I discovered the power of voice vibration sound healing, which might be, I think, what I want to share a little bit with is your vibration that you're putting out there to help you be brave. Um, and from that, I then became a life coach and I now specialize in vocal confidence. So, helping people acknowledge the restrictions that have stopped them from fully expressing themselves or feeling fully expressed, and sharing tools to help people be able to speak with more confidence, with clarity, with the courage of their convictions. And one of the key things I say is no matter the situation. And I think that might be a good topic for us to explore in this little chat, like how people can have the confidence to express themselves and to say the things that maybe that they are afraid of, or speaking, particularly people who have experienced violence or intimidation, to share their story, to have that confidence to be able to say this happened, because the more people who speak about it, the less people feel that they're weird or different, or that it's something shameful that they should have to hide from. And just having the ability to be able to stand in who you are and fully express yourself.
I love that, and it goes with the V of brave, your voice and your vibrations. I do
Yeah,
love that. So do you want to explain a little bit more about how that works?
very as briefly as I can, because I am a bit of a wordsmith, so I will try to keep it short. Your voice is a reflection of every experience or emotion that you have ever had, witnessed, or imagined. So when people go to speak, to express themselves, it's not just the situation that you're in that you're carrying with you. It is every experience that feels energetically similar. So, for example, if I have one client who I'm thinking of right now who found it really difficult to stand up and talk about her business at networking meetings. And she ran her own business. And she's generally gone through life being one of life's quieter, shyer people, standing in the background a little bit more. And but she was running her own business, and so she had to stand up and speak with confidence about what she does and who she helps and why it's good. But she grew up in a household where if her mother would try and stand up for herself or speak up for herself or say something that her dad didn't like, her mum would get hit. Right? So she witnessed the violence. So that experience has stayed in her to adulthood, so that every time she stands up to speak, it's like, oh no, speaking up's dangerous. So your voice is a reflection of every experience or emotion you've ever had personally, witnessed others, or, and this is the most bizarre thing, that you've imagined. So if you imagine this situation, or someone might not like me, or they might think I'm arrogant, or someone might not agree with what I'm saying. And if you're talking about something that's different or potentially perceived as dangerous, you can just imagine it and your voice will reflect those fears. So your voice might become quieter, or it might become shaky, or you might suddenly find yourself really speaking really fast and quite quietly and maybe quite high pitched. And it's like, I'm just going to get through to the end of it. See, that's how this work works, is acknowledging what part of you is in control. So for example, for that client, when she was talking about her business, I think she was 55 at the time, something like that, mid 50s. So 55-year-old her, with all her experience and all her brilliant work that she does and all her happy customers, would be standing in the room. But 4-year-old her, who was hiding under the table when her mum was standing up for herself and being smacked for standing up for herself, it was 4-year-old her hiding under the table that was filling her up and in control. So the work that I do helps people recognize, what part of you is it that is filling you up when you're going to deliver that presentation for work, or want to say no to that party invitation to your friends, but you feel like, oh no, I can't let everybody down. What part of you is it? What younger you? And it doesn't have to be that traumatic. Um, it can be an incident where maybe 5 years ago you shared something in the workplace and two of the bosses went, no, that's ridiculous, that won't work. And so you go, oh no, okay. So it might be you from 3 weeks ago that happened to. But it's finding out what part of you is filling you up, so that when we have awareness, and awareness is key for everything, when you have an awareness of, oh wait a minute, this isn't how I feel, this is how me then felt. And then we have a process where we take that version of you outside of you for now and go, okay, actually in these situations you need to not come with me, because I need to be fully who I really am with every other experience, because your voice is a reflection of every experience or emotion you've ever had, witnessed, or imagined. So your voice is also a reflection of the good stuff that has happened to you. So it's about remembering what good, and obviously it's also imagined, right? So you can imagine what good things might happen if I share my story. What good things might happen if I put this idea forward at work? What good things might happen if I say, this is who I am, this is what I do, and I'm really good at it? So we can imagine the good stuff, so your voice can reflect that too. I think that's really important for me to share, because as human beings, we get caught up, and especially in the healing world or the self-awareness world or the self-development world or whatever you want to call it, we get quite stuck in the gunk of life. But it's about remembering that actually your voice reflects all the brilliant stuff about you too, all the good things that might happen as well.
Well, that is such a valuable lesson for all of us to learn, to really understand why and how we are using our voice. So thank you for that. Now, how can we use that to break the scourge of violence and harassment?
Um, I mean, I'm blessed, so I've never been a victim of violence. But I'm female, so obviously I've had harassment. Like, show me a woman who hasn't. Again, thankfully not on any big scale. But the day-to-day, people calling out of the van and da 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 da. Now and again, maybe this is why people call me brave, right? Because I just go. So what I tend to do is, when men make comments as I pass by, for example, I stop and I turn around and I say, oh, sorry, did you have something you wanted to say to me? Now, normally at that point they get a little bit defensive. um, so it's what's the classic lines of, oh yeah, look at that. That was one of my favorite ones. Look at that. And I turned around and went, Sorry, did you have something you wanted to say to me? What? I just walked past and you said, look at that. Now I'm slightly curvy. I have a round posterior, which in my teenage years, when was the thing, caused me a lot of grief. But it is appreciated, and that's fine. And I love my body, but it is not for other people to just randomly comment on, and definitely not call her that. So, and then they get like, well, no, I was just, it's like, it's okay. But I'd just like to say, I'm not sure if you're aware, but just calling out like that, it's not a compliment. If you wanted to compliment me, would you like to know how to do it? Because women love compliments, all human beings love compliments, but you just shouting out is not a compliment.
Oh, wow.
And then what I say to them is, and you don't know me. See, you don't know whether I have been in or am in an abusive relationship. You don't know if I have been taken off the side of the road in my past and been raped. You don't know if I have high social anxiety. I said, now, obviously I don't, because I'm having this conversation with you. But before you just shouted out at me, you didn't have a clue of anything that I might have gone through in my life. And normally at that point, they go, oh, yeah, well, I hadn't thought. I was like, no, it's fine. But it's the key is I say it in this tone. I try normally. There have been a couple of times when I've just been like, it's not a compliment, for God's sake. But being able to, it's about awareness. I think this is the key. And so I have this phrase that I use, which is, I'm not sure if you're aware, but. And especially if you're receiving some kind of, let's say, low level harassment, it just might be a comment that's passed in a da-da-da. And because the biggest challenge is awareness, most people aren't aware because they'll say things and maybe they're bigger personalities or they're just used to getting their own way, right? Whether they're male or female, because let's face it, women can be harassing and abusive too. Um, but they're used to getting their own way because most people don't say anything.
Oh, it's so, and it's actually so easy, as you say, to just instead of going into a rage or sulking or going home and complaining to somebody, to actually turn around and have a conversation.
Yeah,
Use your voice to make a difference.
yeah. And now, obviously, I only do this when I feel safe. So there was a time, it was about 11:30 at night in the winter, and I was walking home very conservatively dressed, um, and two young men made a comment, and I wanted to turn around and say, but I was like, it's 11:30 at night. I felt a little bit intimidated, and I was like, yeah, and there's two of them and there's no one else around, and I'm just going to walk home. And I hated that. I hated that. But that was obviously the safer thing for me to do. um, but normally, so it's normally in daylight and these things happen, and I just turn around and I said, and it is the, sorry, did you want to speak with me? Did you have something you wanted to say to me? So that's with strangers. If it's with people who I know, again, this could be something for some people. It's the people who cut across you when if you have a team meeting or you feel are putting you down. Those people are probably, let's give them the benefit of the doubt, ignorant of the impact it's having on you. But if we say nothing, then they definitely don't know. If we have the confidence and the courage to be able to say, I'm not sure if you're aware, but when you say XYZ, that makes me feel, or that makes me think that, I don't know, you think I'm rubbish, or you don't like me, or it makes me feel really hurt. It makes me feel like I don't want to share my ideas ever again. Is that what you intended? So I'm not sure if you're aware, but when you did say XYZ, it makes me feel or think ABC. Is that what you intended? And when I've used this in life, and when I use this with my clients a lot, and they go, oh my God. And we had the conversation, and that's not what they meant at all.
And on the other scale as well, if a man sees a pretty woman and he makes some not unpleasant remark, but he's showing his appreciation for her beauty or whatever it is that has attracted him to her. How do we handle that?
Again, depends how it's said. Like there's a way, and this is what I say to the men. I'm like, if you want to if you want to compliment me, if I walk past and you just think, whoa, because let's face it, that's what often comes out of their mouth. Whoa, all right, gorgeous. um, it's like stop me and say, um, oh, I'm really sorry to interrupt you. um sorry, my name is, like, introduce yourself. um and I just wanted to say, I think you have the most amazing eyes, or you've got a beautiful smile, or I just wanted to say you look stunning, and then walk on. Like, that's how to give someone a compliment. If someone does it nicely, if someone does it properly, just say thank you.
Mm. Yeah, it's unfortunate that so many, especially some of the younger girls, they get offended when somebody does give them a compliment. They're saying, how dare they give a compliment? But it's a natural thing to want to compliment a pretty person or a good looking person.
Yeah. And if it's done in a way that is respectful, like, that's just the ability to say thank you, to accept a compliment, is huge. And this is whether it's physical, whether it is esoteric, whether it is intellectual. If someone says to you, you are brilliant at that, instead of you're naturally going, oh, well, it's just what I do, the ability to accept that and say thank you. Because if we're putting ourselves down by not accepting compliments, then we're giving everyone else permission to put us down as well. So it's that ability to acknowledge, because people don't have to give you a compliment, and that doesn't have to be a visual compliment. It could be anything. It could be, I found that really interesting, or um, uh, I love the way you brought up that topic, or whatever it might be. It's about being able to say thank you, and that's whether it comes from man to man, man to woman, woman to woman. If you must have been at this, someone said to you, oh, I love that top, and you go, oh, this whole thing, oh, I got it in a charity shop. Just say thank you.
Yes, uh, we should be teaching this in schools, how to give and receive compliments.
Yeah.
It's so important because we don't do it. And I've been guilty of it as well. You know,
Oh,
just
yeah,
say,
me too. I'll raise my hand. I've been guilty of it. Um, but when you become conscious of it and being able to express yourself, I think that's maybe the thing that I've done differently in my life, that people think has made me brave, or because I followed when I went off traveling at 22, and they're like, oh, how long are you going for? Where are you going? I'm like, I don't know. I just went off by myself and was like, well, I know vaguely where I'm going. I thought I wasn't that brave. I was going to all English speaking countries to start with. Like, you know, um, but it's following your own path. I think that's, one of the bravest things you can do. And sharing your voice, being able to stand in, however that is, to being able to ask for help, that's really brave. That's been my biggest downfall in life. Like, feeling like I have to do everything myself and not asking for help. Asking for help is one of the bravest things that we can do.
yeah, sure. There's so much in there, but I think that's fabulous. To walk your own path, you've got to understand your own values before you can walk your own path. So it's understanding yourself and then using your voice and communicating effectively. So,
Yeah.
wow, lots of lessons in there. Thanks so much, Judith. This is really brilliant stuff. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, everybody, thank you so much for joining us, and know that you too can be brave, and together we can fight the scourge, what is called the silent pandemic of violence and harassment. So, let's make a difference in the world. You can contact Judith. We'll put her detail below the video, or you can contact me at Walking Without Skin. And please do join us. Be bold, be brave, and fly free. Thanks so much, Judith, for joining us. And join us, everybody, tomorrow for another edition of Brave Briefings. Bye.
Bye.